Untap.
Welcome back to MTGYou, the Magic the Gathering podcast for you. I'm James Burgout, and with me today is the Angel Michael Taylor. How's it going?
It's going heavenly.
And also with us today is the Prince of Darkness, Justin Blades.
You called, my lord?
Oh, I see what you did there. I called Michael the Angel because he was an angel last week and actually took and actually did some he did this, so that was absolutely helpful, and I appreciate that. And of course we know who Justin is, so that's why. What else would I call him other than
the slacker who doesn't do
No. He's good. I'm not. It was no reference toward you. It was more or less just compare and contrast.
No, that's fine. Everybody knows I'm the evil twin.
It's Saturday, the 3rd of October, 2015. We're coming to you from the briny shores of the Great Salt Lake. Thanks for joining us. This is episode 70.
Upkeep.
Well, that sounded disgusting. Briny shores of the Great Salt Lake. It's quite accurate, but it's...
Okay, so we're not actually on the shores of the Great Salt Lake. If you've ever been to the Great Salt Lake, you would know that it doesn't always smell the best. Okay, so where are we today? Oh, we have a new banned and restricted list. How has this changed the face of Magic?
Does not change it a whole lot.
Really?
Unless you're a legacy and vintage player.
So what did change? I mean...
what changed in legacy is they found out, just like they said they felt with modern, if you don't have treasure cruise, you'll just use dig through time. So dig through time got banned in legacy. Black Vice got unbanned, and in vintage, dig through time got restricted, Chalice of the Void is restricted, and thirst for knowledge is unrestricted.
So all those are pretty straightforward. I mean, dig through time was starting to see like just a whole lot of dominating play, and that's just too much for a card that's simply that efficient. Black Vice, that doesn't seem like it's too detrimental, and so Wizards is probably just thinking that it's safe to unban, which seems fair. But in vintage, Chalice of the Void, simple because you just play Chalice of the Void for 0, and then your opponent can no longer play any of their 0-cost spells, their Moxen, their Lotus. That's pretty much the reason to play vintage, so... Having Chalice restricted sort of makes a lot of sense there. Dig through time, same thing. Thirst for knowledge was pretty much from back in the day when a lot of artifact-based decks were seeing a lot of play in vintage. So through time, format changes, things become less powerful when other things come out be more powerful. So... that's sort of like testing the waters to see. It's looking like a lot of the artifact-based strategies are dying down a little bit, so it's probably safe to bring back Thirst for Knowledge.
I see. Who is this on the card for Thirst for Knowledge?
On the promo one from Modern Masters, that is Tezzeret. What's
with his arm? I forget.
It's Ethereum. The whole thing about Ethereum is they replace their mortal flesh for something more prominent and more of an upgrade, and that's where the Ethereum comes in. It's a metal arm.
That's kind of what I was thinking. It looked cool. So how long has this, like, for example, go back to the Black Vice, unbanning something. How long has this been banned, do you think?
Quite a while, I think.
And is it just that enough new cards have come on board that they think that this is okay now, or is it just like the meta's changed, or why would they unban something?
Mostly like the meta changing and everything. So in the last 2-3 years, Star City Games have started up their Legacy series, or at least they've shown a whole lot more light onto it. So it's fleshed out the format and it's developed more of a metagame for it.
Mm-hmm.
and that way people can play around Black Vice a little bit more, and it's no longer such a just dominating presence as it once was.
I see. Michael, what do you think about this? These unbannings and bannings? What does it? I mean, obviously, I don't think you play too much Legacy and Vintage, but what's your opinion? Do these seem like reasonable things, or?
Seems reasonable to me. When they banned Treasure Cruise in Legacy, was about the last time I had a Legacy deck, and that's pretty much what I just thought was, okay, well, half the time it doesn't really make a difference.
Mm-hmm. At the time, Treasure Cruise was new. Right? Didn't they ban that almost immediately after it came out?
Because it broke the format. It already did something that Ancestral Recall was doing before, and people were utilizing that and just breaking the format with it.
And then Dig Through Time came out again. It's like, okay, so let's see. Treasure Cruise was from
Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time came out in the same set.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So when in Modern they banned both of them together, but they felt that being double blue mana on Dig Through Time would have made a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it really doesn't.
It does a little bit, but the decks that play it want one or the other normally. But funny thing, Dig Through Time is still supremely good. I mean, the deck that wants Treasure Cruise are the deck that just has all good moderate spells, like your Delver decks, where they play a lot of low-costing, efficient spells. So if you draw your 3 spells, more than likely you're going to be drawing 3 fair ones no matter what. Where Dig Through Time probably focuses more on the more detrimental spells, like you're trying to assemble this combo, this 2-piece combo, so it helps you dig deeper into that and assemble that. Where otherwise, if you had it in this Delver deck or something, you just get 2 moderate cards, because that's what Delver decks play. They just play slight tempo over time. So,
all right. Well, next on the list, this is, by the time you listen to this will already be outdated, but we only learned about it, I think, yesterday-ish or something like that, recently. Extra Life, extra-life.org is a thing. Let's see, there is some sort of a tabletop appreciation weekend this weekend, October 2 through 4. So this is like a marathon, right?
Yes. It's
but
a marathon of playing games.
You don't go out to a track and walk or run around. You sit at home around a table and play games for 24 hours?
Yep.
And what do you just like other marathons and things like that? What is Extra Life out to do?
They are out to raise money for children with life-threatening diseases. So what they set up to do is you will set up a time that you're going to sit down and play games for 24 hours straight. Whether it's online, you can stream it if you want. It's mostly based off of the honor system.
Mm-hmm.
So, everyone's just taking your word for it. But you would set up a time that you're going to sit down and play games for 24 hours straight.
Mm-hmm.
This weekend is the tabletop appreciation. So Wizards has got a team together. Kenji's going to be streaming for 24 hours straight,
mm-hmm.
having a bunch of members of the Wizards team jumping on with him as guests. They're giving away a bunch of Magic stuff for people that donate. But it's, this weekend is the tabletop appreciation, but this is something that if you want to do it, you can do it whenever.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've been looking into it and thinking about running a
24-hour game. That'd be pretty fun.
So I think it's pretty neat.
How long has this been going on? Do you know?
I first heard about it when we had the GamerCon here in Salt Lake a couple months back.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I first heard about it.
Mm-hmm. So maybe this is something we'll keep an eye on, maybe even next year or something like that. When it comes around, maybe we can do something. Anyway, just kind of bringing that to everyone's attention. Look into it. And, yeah. And then we have an action-packed month coming up. Next week is MTGYou Battle for Zendikar pre-release.
So that's the 9th through 12th.
Mm-hmm. That'll be exciting. Michael, I know you're looking forward to that.
Yes, I am.
I'm thinking of doing that myself. We'll see if I can get around to it. That'd be fun. Maybe I'll do a pre-release next weekend since I missed the actual paper one.
It's like your makeup.
Yeah, my makeup test. Following week, October 16th, Pro Tour BFZ. Where is this going to be held? Do you know?
Oh, I don't actually.
Let's look it up. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So you'll be able to see Laverne and Shirley there. Who knows who Laverne and Shirley is? Do you, Michael? Are you familiar with them? Blades.
Yes.
Do you know who Laverne and Shirley is?
Yeah, I was not a fan of their show.
Oh, you're not a fan of their show? That's blasphemy. Anyway.
No, that was more of I Love Lucy and Happy Days.
Oh, okay, got it. All right, so that's in Milwaukee. You can go and visit a brewery there while you're there, and now that's always fun. That's always a good thing to watch on a nice weekend. And then game day weekend coming up October 24th and 25th.
I know where that's at.
That's right, at a store.
Everywhere?
Yeah,
At a store near you.
At a store near you. It's kind of exciting. I heard on last week's show that Peter is now like 15 minutes from a game store, or he's going to be. So
yeah, hopefully get into more of those game days.
Yeah. Let's go on.
Draw step.
In our draw step today, we are talking about Drana, Liberator of Malakir. Did I say that right?
Less spaces in between your preferences, I think, might be...
Drana, Liberator of Malakir. Is that better? Okay, 1 colorless and 2 black. It's a mythic, legendary creature, vampire ally, 2/3. Flying first strike. When Drana, Liberator of Malakir deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on each attacking creature you control.
All right, let's go into why we didn't think anything about her before. Because 3 mana for a 2/3, meh. Flying first strike, that's like the same mana as you'd get for a Vampire Nighthawk. But where he had the lifelink death touch abilities, and for set depending, that was quite detrimental for that. So they are actually 2 different cards, but this is more of an aggressive card for sure. For more of a aggressive deck or token deck, where you just want to flood the board full of creatures. The great thing about this is it gives you sort of like a continuous lord effect, where it gives not only like all your elves or all your goblins +1/+1, it gives all your creatures +1/+1.
Yeah, and I think that flying probably comes in handy if they don't happen to have a way of blocking it. You just get that over and over again until they do.
Definitely.
Well, both flying and first strike are both make it very evasive.
Yeah. So she doesn't get the 3 power when she first hits, but it's very intriguing to realize that she does her first strike damage, and then she also gets the counters. So not only are your guys getting the Anthem effect with their regular damage with the +1/+1, but she can also like randomly just take a power of 3 against her and still live from it. Like if your opponent blocks with a 3/3 guy, you don't kill their guy, but their guy doesn't kill yours, since by the time that they deal their 3 damage to you, you're going to have the 4 toughness on the butt. So that's quite relevant for a 3-drop. And I think it's probably going to get a few people catch a few people off guard by thinking that they're going to be able to kill her, but she actually is going to be bigger by the time that damage resolves.
Now, it does say whenever drawn a liberator or whatever deals combat damage to a player. So if they're blocking it...
Yeah, if they block it the first turn you attack.
Oh, it's only to a player. Never mind. Yeah.
So what I really like about it is that, yeah, you do have the evasion with flying.
But you're right. Well, no. You only get that +1/+1 if they actually get the damage through.
Yeah. So...
And we don't have a whole lot of ways to give her trample, so...
Right.
No.
Yeah, what I just said only works if she has trample.
Right, but it's nice. You're right. But that is significant. That is a cool thought. But again, she has a lot of evasion capability here. So
also, it throws off your combat math. So anyone blocking any of your other creatures, by the time it gets to regular damage, they've already got their 1/1 counters on all the creatures. So
yeah.
if she hits, like if they're blocking your 3/3 with their 3/3 on the ground, and she hits, your 3/3 is now going to be a 4/4 by the time regular combat damage comes around, and you're just going to eat their 3/3 right up.
Mm-hmm.
That actually seems prominent in the color scheme as well. Her being black is definitely quite relevant about that, because you untap on turn 4, you kill their blockers that is going to block them anyway with like two ultimate prices or such, and that seems prominent and very easy to get her through in the color scheme, where she's already got a slight form of evasion and flying. There's not a whole lot of flying creatures that are too highly played out there right now. Mantis Rider is a good one, so that's going to avoid the murderous, not murderous cut, but ultimate price. So that actually seems quite relevant.
I don't know if you guys play Tiny Leaders.
I do. I still do play Tiny Leaders.
But
I know that it's died off everywhere else, but I'm still into it because that gives me a legacy feel.
Yeah. I feel like it's my way of playing kind of Commander without having all the other cards that you would use in Commander.
Yeah.
But I actually just opened up Drana the other day, so...
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I started working on a Tiny Leaders deck with her as my Tiny Leader.
Wow, she's a money card right now, too. Didn't you say she started off at $4 and now she's, what, 25 or something?
Yeah, something like that. She didn't have a whole lot of hype, and then just out of the blue, over the last week or so, she jumped up quite a bit. I think last I checked, she was around 25.
I'm looking it up.
25.
Yeah, 25.
Well, that's an interesting card. Let's move along.
Main phase.
So today in our main phase, we're going to be talking about Battle for Zendikar First Impressions. To get us started, kind of as a prompt, there is a survey on the mothership. They put out these surveys each
big set.
And so I thought we'd use this to kind of lead us through our discussion a little bit. If you go to the mothership, you can take it too. The first thing it says, how often do you play Magic the Gathering paper trading card game? And how often have you played it in the last 6 months? I would say that I am less than once a month. The answers are 2 to 3 times a month, 3 to 5 times per month, more than 5 times per month. So how about you guys?
3 to 5, probably.
I'm about in the paper. I'm probably the 1 to 2 times per month.
Okay. It says, thank you for your time. We're looking for people who fit a different profile for this survey, because I picked less. So one of you guys are going to have to bring it up.
Yep. What is your date of birth?
What is your social security number?
Yeah.
I'll just fill this one out and move forward.
1940 or prior.
1940 or prior. Yeah, when I was a kid, we didn't play with paper. We played with rocks.
Well, that's a sad life. So, image of smoldering marsh.
Oh, see, I got an image of Ob Nixilis.
So we're supposed to rate the art, name, flavor, play value, and overall rating. So art, I think the art for this set overall is very good. So I'm gonna go for excellent. Name, well, you can only get so many names.
So is this whole survey just one card after another, or are there different questions?
I'm not sure yet.
Well, let's find out, because I did it again, and I lied, because I said 3 to 5 times. Sorry, wizards. Or Riff Invoker. Human Shaman.
Raker.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Like, I just moved to the next one, and it looks like it's just giving me different cards. And same thing, art, name, flavor, play, overall rating.
Huh. I see. So that's why they don't want my opinion on this, is because I wouldn't be familiar with these cards if I don't play that often. If you play 2 or 3 times a month, then you'd probably be able to look at these cards and make a reasonable comment on them. At least, how good do you think they are? Have you taken these? Who's taken these quizzes before? Have you, Michael?
I've taken them before, but I don't remember it going card by card. It was more of a general, how do you generally like the art of the set, the flavor. It was more of general questions for the full set, not a card by card.
Well, let's just skip this then, and let's go right into it. What do you think of the art? What's your? We've already talked about this. We love the art, right? I mean, what's there not to love about it?
Yeah, like it seems like with every passing set, Magic has just really stepped up their art on all forms, and a lot of it is contextually should be taken with the flavor. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if that made sense.
No, I think I know what you're talking about. I was looking at one last night, and it had what was the one I was looking at? But it had little hedrons going around Ulamog, and it basically exiled everything that had a power of 5 or greater. And I thought, what's that?
Aligned Hedron Network or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm actually on that one right now.
And I thought, wow, okay, so look, the name, Aligned Hedron Network, has Ulamog right there. It has the hedrons going around it. And I thought, wow, yeah, that's right on target. It's cool art. It has the picture speaks to it. That's basically what you're talking about, right, Blades? The art and everything kind of fit together. And they are really concerned about that when they're doing. I've heard times when they already have the artwork in, because they have to get art in advance, and they've actually changed the way the card works to match the artwork, as opposed you'd think it would probably be the other way around, but artwork takes long enough that if the art doesn't make sense for the power or for whatever the card is doing, that sometimes they will just simply say, well, look, what else can we do with this card that makes this artwork make sense? And I have to hand it to them for that. That's actually pretty cool. I have to wonder how many things are actually in the cards themselves that nobody ever recognizes or very few people recognize. And if I was in R&D and development, I think that I would be more like, come on, guys, can't you see all this cool stuff we're hiding in here? Seems like they just sit back and say, you know what, let people find it when they find it.
Yeah, you see a lot of that, a lot of the Easter eggs in the artwork, and I actually highly enjoy that, especially with a lot of their tokens, like Desolation Twin, where in the actual card you see 2 characters, one prominent in the foreground and then one in the background, and then on the token it's obviously it's showcasing the one in the background. Mm-hmm. So I think that a lot of times when they do that, it's pretty good. So
I like this one too. Ally Encampment. It has a hedron right in the middle of a camp. So you can visualize this camp that's being protected from from the... What are the bad guys?
The Eldrazi.
Eldrazi, thank you. The bad guys. It's being protected from the bad guys. No, the Eldrazi by this Hedron that's right there. But the effects are really interesting. Add 1 to your mana pool, so you're getting some strength from this. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Spend this mana only for allies. Or the last one, which I thought is very interesting. Pay 1, tap, sacrifice ally encampment, return target ally you control to its owner's hand. So it's kind of like you could sacrifice this entire encampment and save 1 person or something like that. So the flavor of that is very, very cool. What is the deal with Ob Nixilis in this set? Do we know?
So flavor-wise, it was spoiled through the Arena of the Planeswalkers stuff that they spoiled at PAX not too long ago. That he did reignite his spark. So spoiler alert for flavor-wise. Mm-hmm. There's your warning right there. Apparently he stole it from Nissa.
Oh, really? So he has supposedly now he's gotten Nissa's spark or something like that?
Yeah, somehow along the way, it wasn't really delved into detail how he did it, but he was able to steal Nissa's spark. So now Nissa apparently is no longer a planeswalker, but she's still fighting as like a general for Zendikar.
So obviously. Is there going to be some sort of story coming out that's going to tell this? Is it just going to be on the website? Are they putting out any novellas or comics or anything like that? Do you know?
I think they've actually released that most of their story. They're starting to wean away from the novellas.
Mm-hmm.
They actually just released, I think it was about a week ago, you can go on to the mothership and download an ebook, which is they just take all the stories that come out every Wednesday and they put them all together.
Oh, cool.
Into an ebook that you can download from the mothership. So they had one for Theros, and they released one for Zendikar as well.
That is cool.
Or not Theros, the Khans block.
Khans of Tarkir.
Yeah.
Did Ob Nixilis come to Zendikar, and is that what we're going to find out here somehow?
He was originally in Zendikar. He was there for a while because the flavor with Ob Nixilis was he once was a planeswalker, and he was not a demon as he appears to be right now. So if we look back to the commander sets, he was at least a humanoid figure. And then somehow along the way he made a pact with the devil or something, or he got cursed to
become this demon.
The story that I read on was he was actually on Zendikar when Nahiri, Ugin, and Sorin had trapped the Eldrazi, and Nahiri took his spark from him and trapped... Well, not took his spark, but she trapped him on Zendikar and stripped him of his powers, and that's what caused him to turn demon-like. And he's since then cursed or been had like a vengeance on Zendikar, and felt that the only way he could quote unquote earn his spark back was by destroying Zendikar.
So is he on the Eldrazi side then? I mean, is it?
I think he's on Ob Nixilis' side.
Okay, because that's kind of what I was trying to get at here. Is I'm trying to figure out where he comes into the picture. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because obviously it's gonna play into the next set too. We're gonna have to see some sort of resolution or something come about in the next one. Moving on, let's talk about playing. You guys have played now at least a little bit. What do you think about this set so far?
So, my view, I've only done sealed. I haven't done any of the constructed formats or draft of it. But I've done 2 sealed events. I did the pre-release and then the release event last night. I I was not able to complete either of those, so slightly construed there. But actually, on the pre-release event, I actually did something that I haven't done in foreseeable memory, and I went 0-4. So I felt like my pull was fairly low, and well, even beyond that, like sealed wise, this is quite possibly like the hardest set that I've ever had to build a sealed pool from.
You think that was simply because of your pull, or do you think that this is a hard set for that?
I think that this maybe both.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to be skeptical about what I'm saying, but this is definitely a hard set to build around. Like with your seal pulls, there's so much synergies, and it's hard to see right now. It's a weird set. Like there's not a whole lot that we can compare this to that we've had in the past, and I don't know what's actually playable. Like with this Devoid thing, at the pre-release, I went for more of a Devoid-centric thing, and I didn't get a lot of enablers to exile any of their permanents, so that was a little bit hard for me to get the special abilities on a lot of them. Also, I didn't get any of the big Eldrazi guys, which for my second sealed event. And from what I've seen, like, the big guys are actually quite problematic. You either need to go, like, really, really aggro, or, like, what I did for my second one was I went for more of a ramp strategy into the big Eldrazi spawns and such. So that... even going that way, where you'd think a ramp deck would be a whole lot easier to build, I think it's still very difficult. I think that this format as a whole is hard to identify a lot of the key components of it, and even an experienced player like myself, like, it's really hard to say pull one way or the other in, like, for whatever you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when I was looking at a lot of my top tables and stuff, it was like a lot of people that I wouldn't traditionally expect to see up there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, I don't know if it was more randomized or what, but I don't know. It's a weird set, and I don't know how to go about it yet.
Yes, I see. That'll make Pro Tour rather interesting to see how the pros solve the set then.
I think so too. Like,
Yeah.
this is quite intriguing.
Yeah, which also means that there could be some big cards pop out of it, since it's not so obvious. Michael, how about you? What do you think?
I think that it is kind of a hard set to build around. I think especially in sealed, because there's a lot of synergies you can go with, and you know, in draft, I haven't drafted yet, but I'm going to assume that you can go for that strategy and kind of build your way into it. But in sealed, you just get what you've got, and trying to build a decent deck, it's, you know, not an easy task. And like in my pre-release, everyone was, you know, you think you're supposed to build a 2-color deck, but it just seems like the set wants you to build a 3-color deck. Even though most of the cards you're playing with are technically colorless.
It does feel like you're stretched a little bit more towards that, but it's still, you don't want to ever. Like, you still want to try and keep to 2 colors and then maybe like a splash of a third. But like, I was playing a 3-color deck on the pre-release, and that just took me nowhere. And it did not seem to do any good. Like, you're still stretched a little bit more, and you're jumping into that variance of whether or not you're going to draw the right colors a whole lot more than what you really want to.
Kind of interesting. Going back to the flavor aspect of this, it sounds interesting because it seems like, Eldrazi are colorless, and then you have the allies that are theoretically every color. So it seems like that would play into it what you're describing, making it very flavorful. You either go no color, or you either go something like a colorless of some sort, or the devoid type of a route, or you have to really pull the allies together in order to do anything.
Yeah, like the allies and landfall seem to go fairly well together as mechanically, like they did before. Even with that, that's like more of the god pull, as it were. Like you're just hoping for a whole lot of those in the same pull, where it seems all quite a bit scattered, and I don't know. It's just like everything is very scattered, and a lot of the way it's not sending you into one specific direction or another.
Yeah.
So you just feel lost on where to go a lot of the times.
And I suspect sealed is going to be the most problematic of all of the formats right now. It's the hardest one to solve. Draft is probably going to be, I don't know yet. I'm just speculating, but more straightforward. You might have a larger card pool since you have, 24 packs opened, throughout your pod, and standard. You still have other, you still have the prior block to fall back on. So there's already somewhat of a roadmap there about that to build on. So it does seem like, yeah, I can see, and that's basically all we're talking about so far is just sealed. That's the only experience you have so far.
Yeah.
What have you seen so far as standard goes? Anything?
Just a whole lot of Brune right now. It looks like the Abzan decks are going to be still quite prominent, and different variations of them, where we had in the last format aggro and control variants and mid-range. Like there wasn't just one flat-out Abzan deck that just everyone played. It was always different, and I feel like we're still going to see that. We're going to see a variance of that. I think that's to be expected with something like Siege Rhino around, because that card is just so insanely powerful. Mm-hmm. But that could be like just the lazy man's way of getting through it, even though each list is going to be specifically tailored to the metagame. Mm-hmm. So that's possible. Mono red is still going to be a thing, definitely. We're going to see a few different variants of that, whether it be the green-red Atarka's command style decks that we were seeing before with the goblin tokens, or just more of a flat-out mono red that's focusing more on just the value and burn to the face with Abbott and such. Mm-hmm. So those seem quite prominent. Beyond that, I don't really know what we're going to be seeing or looking at. People are exploring like Jund variants, like Jund Sacrifice, because right now, even though we're coming off of a set that was Wedge themed, that's still pretty good. But where we have the fetch lands with the friendly ally lands, that's going to be quite big into getting us into a shard style deck. So we're going to see a lot of the friendly colors. And like Jund, Grixis, and Bant possibly. Mm-hmm. So the format is quite open. The mana is there to support just about everything, at least 3 color-wise. Maybe a little bit more 4 color-wise. We're going to have to see how problematic that's going to be for it.
Have you paid attention to anything coming out, Michael, as far as new standard decks or anything like that?
Just a little bit. Like Blade says, it looks like it's probably still going to be pretty heavy Abzan out there in the meta. Mm-hmm. Mono red does still look really strong, but just slower. A lot of their burn spells, if you're trying to go with that strategy, are moving over to sorcery, which definitely hurts mono red quite a bit. Other than that, yeah, it's looking like my guess is that we're going to start seeing a lot of the shards showing up. From what I've just been, from my own kind of brewing experience, from what I've been trying to do since spoilers, is to me it looks like Grixis looks like it could be kind of strong if you want to go almost like a mid-rangey. Abzan is looking like it's, my guess is a little more aggro. Like the Abzan aggro, I think, is going to get a lot of extra help. They're losing some of the stuff that made them really good, like Fleece Mane, but I think anything that they lost, they're getting back something that's equivalent or almost better. I'm definitely seeing this as continuing on with a 3-color theme, mostly 2 colors, and probably splashing a 3rd color for maybe 4 or 5 cards. But with the fetch lands and the Tango or Battle lands, whatever they're called, I think it's going to make it really easy to splash any friendly color that for whatever you're playing.
Are there any cards that either of you feel like is going to change the meta? The standard?
From what we've seen from last format, not really. Ob Nixilis is quite good, but we're also losing Elspeth, so that's possibly problematic. Gideon could be a game changer. I think that the fact allies are not going to be a real big thing. So the fact that he makes allies and flavorly helps that out, I think that that's going to be irrelevant, but Gideon is probably going to be a very good tool to use in this new format, and he's going to be very good.
I see Gideon, my guess with Gideon is that we're going to see him used a lot as a 4-drop anthem you can't get rid of. I don't know, that's just my opinion. I can see having getting a token every turn, and I think a lot of people are seeing that as maybe like an Elspeth replacement. It's just not. It's just a third of what you got with Elspeth.
So basically you think that he's just going to become each turn he's going to just become his 5/5 human soldier? People are just going to +1 him each time and just keep using him that way?
I think we're going to see him dropping a lot of tokens.
Oh, okay. The two. I see what you're saying.
Get about
the 0
tokens out.
The 0. Put a 2/2 allied creature token. Okay.
Well, both of those are quite dependent on what the metagame shapes out to be. If we have a lot of aggressive decks, as soon as you drop him, you might want to just flood the board full of 2/2 guys and start trading off with a lot of their guys. If we're going to see a lot more of a slower format, then we might see him just +1ing a whole lot and just getting in there for the damage. It really depends on the deck that is playing him.
Yeah, so he's up to above $35. So he's quite valuable too. He's probably, I don't know, is he the highest rated card in the set possibly as far as power wise?
It's hard to say. Like, I think he's the most universally good. Who are we talking about right now?
Gideon.
Oh, Gideon?
Yeah. I
think he probably is the highest power wise.
Like if you're in a
the
draft,
highest ceiling.
If you're in a draft and you could pick any one card, what would be your first card?
Maybe Ulamog or Ob Nixilis.
Over Gideon, perhaps?
Gideon's still up there, and he's absolutely a first pick. But if I have like a pick full of if I don't care and I have a choice between Gideon or Ob Nixilis, one of them being foil or whatever, and it doesn't matter that one of them is foil, that's actually a hard call. I think I'd I think I might go with Obnixilis,
Okay.
but it's very, very close.
I would probably choose Obnixilis as well.
Would you?
Like I had him in my sealed deck at pre-release. He was actually really easy to get out. I mean, he was 5 mana, but with the Scions, once I had my 2 swamps, I was able to get him out right away. And I think we only have the one. Ulamog is the only indestructible creature we've got in this set.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to just drop him and take out their biggest threat was extremely powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And then
He draws you into
drawing
cards.
2 cards a turn after that.
Right. Boy, those are 2 very different, different cards, huh? Between him and Gideon, almost.
I think we're going to see a lot of colorless stuff coming out too, even though we got, colored symbols and whatnot in it. But from what I've seen is a lot of the Eldrazi have a lot of triggers that trigger off having other colorless stuff on, whether it's colorless spells, colorless creatures, the synergies that they have for them. I mean, flavor-wise, it's almost like you feel that the more Eldrazi you have, just the bigger threat, the bigger, I guess it's the threat they are. I definitely think we'll see some colorless synergies, at least in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. So, in wrapping up, go ahead and just give me your overall thoughts of the set, where you think we're going to be, where we're going to see it in 1 to 2 months. What do you think?
I think Abzan's definitely going to be a thing. I don't know. I think we're probably going to flush out a few of the decks, unlike what we were last format, where a new deck was like taking out the tournament. I mean, you still had your powerhouse of decks, but there was still room to fluctuate to the metagame quite a bit, and there was quite a bit of diversity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see that a whole lot in this next set. I think right now it looks like Abzan it might just be the dominant deck.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that you are regretting? Do you wish something would knock Abzan out of its place, or do you want to see, or are you okay with that?
I'm fine with there always being a like 50-50 style deck, like in Modern, and I'm fine with that being like an Abzan variant. But when it's in Standard and it's more than like a 50-50 deck, that's when I become like hesitant about it. And I think that might be what we were starting to look like last format, and what is looking like this format. So
we can hope.
Pretty much we can hope.
You can hope that maybe something else comes out of it come Pro Tour. Yeah.
Hope so.
Michael, what do you think?
I'm
Wrapping
thinking that from what I can see, I think Abzan is going to come out on top again. I definitely think that we're going to see a lot less decks, like different decks taken, like top 8 Grand Prix, because it was last Standard. It seemed like just bring whatever you want as long as you've practiced it well, and it's you've got good cards and a good sideboard. It was anybody's game.
Mm-hmm.
There were definitely the decks like Abzan that had probably higher percentages, but anyone still could have gone in there, and it was like every weekend it was a different deck that was taking the lead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to have probably the top 3 decks, and we'll probably see different variations of those same 3 or 4 decks, and which saddens me a little bit. I like being able to, when you go to F&M and you see just about everybody playing a different deck.
Mm-hmm.
It was really nice to see. And it wasn't the same people winning every weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that about does it for our main phase. Let's move on.
Combat phase.
So in our combat phase, I have had a busy week. I have not done anything this week, so I don't have anything to report. I think we've already heard a lot from you guys. Just give us a really quick recount of what you've done.
So I played in 2 sealed events, and they are both been fairly variant, and
Nothing too exciting.
it's nothing like I'm still unsure about the whole set. Like I normally when I come into it, and I'm either very excited about a set or I'm like, meh, it's a set. This one is like, I don't know. I'm actually thinking that it's just a bad set, but I'm
But you
still
don't know
a little
yet.
bit reserved about it.
Yeah, you're not going to make that statement quite yet.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Michael, and you?
All I've done is pre-release, and I talked about that last episode, so we don't need to repeat that.
Okay.
But other than that, I've been spending a lot of time just brewing and trying to see what I can come up with. That's about it.
When you brew, how do you do that? Do you just do it in your head? Do you just kind of...
I do a lot of it, like in my head, and I'll start looking at cards. And what I like to start out with is I'll pick a card that I like, and I'll see what else it works with. And if I've got about at least 3 or 4 other cards in the current standard that will synergize well with it, then I'll continue, looking into it, and then seeing, that'll lead me into saying, oh, if I splash in this color, this, or would it be better if I went, black red instead of black green? So right now I'm kind of working on a Jeskai list, and actually it's more of like a 4-color control list and a red black or red black green aggro. So I'm debating between the two. From what I can tell, it just doesn't seem like trying to go with all 3 colors in the one deck for the aggro will just slow it down way too much. So trying to go, looks like the black red will be a little faster, but the black green might be a little slower, but probably have better chances of winning.
Well, we'll see what next week brings. Maybe with next week pre-release weekend it'll probably be Saturday when we actually play. So we'll probably record first and then play. So we may not have anything too much new next week. We'll see. And at least to be able to report via Battle for Zendikar. But the following week, we should definitely have some insights, I think. So anyway, we'll move along here. Second
main phase.
No email feedback, no new iTunes reviews. We do have one poll. We have a poll up right now. I want to encourage everyone to go and take that poll. We only have 3 participants so far. This is how it goes. How do you like to win at Magic? Who's the beatdown? I am. Not too slow, not too fast. Yeah, just right. Mid-range. You could say I'm a control freak. Control. And a little this, a little that makes a dish just right. Combo. Or if you have another way you like to win, say flipping the table, you can fill that in too. Go ahead and please take that poll this week so that I can see a few more results there. Also, new this week, Michael has a new article up that I really liked. Better after the break. I thought it was a good insight into sometimes how taking a break can actually make you a better Magic player. We're not encouraging anyone to take a break, but I'm just saying that, it can make you, when you come back, you can have fresh eyes. And I think that you talked about that in your article, and I liked it. I even especially like the graphic you put up here. On break, be back in 5 years. Anyway, good job on that.
Let us know what you guys think about Zendikar.
Yeah, please send us an email if you have different opinions, or you just want to tell us that if you think we're on target, let us know. If you think that you've seen something that we're not seeing, please let us know. We'd love to read your emails on the air.
End step.
So if you like the show, you can leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you don't like the show, feel free to contact us directly. You can email us at mtgyoupodcast@gmail.com. We have other content on the website besides the podcast. Go check it out at the website, mtgyu.com. Subscribe and like us on YouTube. Find us at youtube.com/themtgu. Follow us on Twitter at the MTGYou. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/MTGYou. You can also find us on Stitcher. So for the MTGYou podcast,
I'm Blades.
I'm Michael.
and I'm James. Now we pass the turn to you.